The House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol assault held its second public hearing Monday. It focused on how former President Donald Trump spread lies about the 2020 election being stolen rather than accept that he lost. Scott MacFarlane has a recap of the day's proceedings.
Today on Capitol Hill, it was Trump's own aides in recorded depositions landing punches for the committee. Former Attorney General William Barr said he warned then President Trump that his claims of fraud in the 2020 election were false.
I could all the early claims that I understood were completely bogus and silly and usually based on complete misinformation.
Barr, who was silent about his concerns over Trump's false fraud allegations in the weeks after the election, described the president's claims as, quote, crazy.
I thought, boy, if he really believes this stuff, he has, lost contact with he's become detached from reality if he really believes this stuff.
The man expected to be the star witness today, former Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien, was a last-minute scratch when his wife went into labor. The committee instead showed recordings of Stepien's deposition in which he acknowledged urging then-President Trump not to declare victory on election night.
It was far too early to be making any calls like that. Ballots were still being counted.
The president did anyway.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Egged on by an apparently inebriated Rudy Giuliani, who told Trump the election had been stolen from him.
Was there anyone in that conversation who, in your observation, had too much to drink?
And the mayor was definitely intoxicated.
Jared Kushner, the former president's son-in-law, says he warned Trump about Giuliani's advice.
And how did he react?
We said, I have confidence in Rudy.
Former Vice President Mike Pence, who refused Trump's demand that he object to the certifying of the election January 6th, defended his actions today.
I'll always believe that I did my duty that day.
The committee also said election lies helped Trump raise $250 million. The donation solicited for an election defense fund the committee says didn't really exist.
The big lie was also a big ripoff.
Millions in donations would be funneled not to a legal defense fund, but to the president's Save America PAC, which would spend more than $200,000 on Trump's hotel properties, $1 million to a foundation led by Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and $5 million to the company that helped organize the January 6th White House Ellipse rally that preceded the riot.
And Scott MacFarlane joins us now with more from Capitol Hill. Scott, the committee, as you reported there, says the Trump campaign used these false campaigns of election fraud to raise money, a substantial amount of money. What can you tell us about those efforts and the fundraising efforts now?
Errol, a review of campaign records shows it's possible only a small fraction of the tens of millions of dollars raised after the election and after these claims of election fraud began were used for recounts and legal challenges. It meant it's unclear where some of the rest of the money went. Campaign finance experts say it is difficult often to track. A lot of this money goes into a gray area that lacks in some transparency. We know this committee, this January 6th committee, has a series of color-coded teams with different specializations. There's a red team tracking the rioters, a blue team tracking the security spots, but there's also a green team, which is tracking the money trails. We saw some indication of that today when the committee said in so many words that there was money raised and that it could have been a grift because of these election lies, which were just that. The committee says a big lie and a big financial bounty for the Trump campaign.
And how significant then, compared to what we heard last week, was Monday's testimony to what this committee, the case this committee is trying to make against former President Trump?
It's quite clearly a sequential investigation where they're trying to show different things at each step. There are 7 public hearings. This was number 2. The first one was almost like a reading of the table of contents in a book. They were saying what chapter is going to show what hole they've dug. Today, they showed the hole they dug on voting fraud allegations, saying not only was the Trump inner circle knowledgeable that the voting fraud allegations were bogus, but that they told the former president that. Wednesday, they move on to a different hole they've dug into the Justice Department in the 11th hour of the Trump presidency. What the former president and his team were trying to do at the Department of Justice between Election Day and January 6th, Errol.
And what have we heard from former President Trump and his team, his communication team now, considering that so much of what the committee's case is building is based on the Trump inner circle?
They've been particularly vocal and particularly emphatic. They believe this committee is political and illegitimate. The president has used the phrase unselect committee to refer to the select January 6th committee. House Republicans have largely, if not exclusively, boycotted this committee, saying it's not properly composed because their party's choices for the committee weren't seated. That Speaker Nancy Pelosi seated all 9 members, including the 2 Republicans. So they're trying to kneecap this committee by saying it's illegitimate, trying to reduce the impact of whatever findings come out. And there are more findings to come. Again, this is just the second, Errol, of 7 public hearings, and then a public written report to come late this summer, early this fall.
Really incredible. And just in our last few seconds, Scott, do we know this third hearing will be on Wednesday, as you mentioned? Do we have any sense of what it will focus on?
Not in prime time. It'll be another daytime hearing. We expect to hear from the former acting Attorney General, Jeffrey Rosen, about whatever pressure or leverage might have been placed on him by the Trump administration after Election Day.
All right, Scott MacFarlane, live from Capitol Hill. Thank you.